Hi everyone, so today I wanted to make this little Easter basket and this one's slightly different from the one that I have been making for years. So for many years I've been making this square one, and I will be doing a video on this at some point in the future. I couldn't quite squeeze it in time for Easter, unfortunately, which is why I came up with this hexagonal one. But anyway, so I will be doing that, but this has been around for years. This has. I don't know who came up with this originally, but it is beautiful. I think I saw it on Split Coast Stampers site, but I'm not entirely sure. I said it was many years ago now. But I liked the way it looked, but I wanted to do a hexagonal one. So I have come up with this, which is my hexagonal one. And this is my own design. I've come up with this myself. So if you redo this as a template, I'd be very appreciative if you could give me some credit for it. That'd be wonderful. Thank you very much. So this is the one we're going to be doing today. So you need to make sure that you have a patterned card that is double-sided and that contrasts each other. So for example, on this one, I had the watercolour flowers on one side and then the orange colour on the other side. So this meant then when you put it together, you get a nice little contrast, and obviously the strips contrast against the base of the box, of the basket. Okay, and obviously the handle's nice and sturdy. You'll also need some kind of either thin washi tape or thin ribbon, 1/4 of an inch wide, and you also need 2 brads as well. Okay, so I'm going to be using this card, which is from first edition Trimcraft, which is called Beyond the Shore. Really nice paper, and on one side you've got this kind of Moroccan tile kind of look, and on the other side you've got a really nice aqua colour. So this is perfect for this particular card. So you need a piece that is 8 inches by 11.5 inches, which is what I've got here. Then you need another piece which is 4.5 by 11.75, and another piece which is 2 inches by 11.75. Okay, so we're going to start with the main base. Okay, now this is just the reason I've done it in one piece. You could do it in 3 strips, but if you do it as one piece and do all your score lines, it just means you waste less card. Okay, so that's why I've done it. So you want to bring your scoreboard into place, and what you're going to do is you're going to lay it along. If you lay it along the long side, so the 11.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, at 4 inches, at 7.5 inches, and at 11 inches. Okay, and then you're going to turn it round so it's along the short edge, and on the short edge you're going to score at 1/2 inch, 2.5 inches, 3 inches, 5 inches, 5.5 inches, and 7.5 inches. Okay, so that's that piece done. Now we're going to put that to one side, and we're quickly going to score the other 2 pieces. So this is the one that is 11.75 by 4.5, and on this piece you're going to score at 4 1/8 and at 7 5/8. Okay, so that's 4 1/8 and 7 5/8, and then you're just going to put that to one side as well. And then on the final piece, which is your 2 inches by 11.75, you're just going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1.5 inches. Okay. Oh, what have I done there? Gone off slightly there. Oh, 1/2 inch. There we go. I didn't score. I scored at 1/4. That was silly of me. Anyway, so 1/2 inch and at 1.5 inches. Okay, so put that to one side for now. You can put your scoreboard away because you don't need that anymore. And then you're going to bring your original piece in. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you a template. It looks a bit complicated, and you do have to concentrate when you're cutting out because it can get a bit confusing. So this is the piece. Now, just bear in mind, it's not to scale, obviously, and this piece, and this should all be the same size. My diagram isn't because I'm not the best at drawing. But anyway, so what it is out of this one piece, those 3 widest pieces are what's going to make up the base and the sides of your box, okay? So you're going to have one big strip like that with tabs top and bottom, another strip with tabs top and bottom, and another strip with tabs top and bottom. And it just means that where I've put the pink hash, scoring marks, that's the bit we're going to cut out. Okay, so I'm going to start doing mine and I'll lay it all out and then hopefully you'll be able to see what we're doing. Okay. So on here, I'm now going to, just with a pencil, just cross out the bits I don't need. Okay, and I'm just going to leave that open so I can see it. So I'm not going to need this top bit here or that top bit. I do need that. That's a tab. Now I will need this bottom bit here because that's the bottom of this tab. In fact, I'm just going to put that in there. That's going to be there, there like that. Okay, and that's going to be there like that. I'm just going to draw these in so you can see, and also for my own thing. Okay, and I don't need that bit in the middle. I do need this because this belongs to the box below. So that's going to be there. And the same here. May as well just do that whole section there while we're at it. And the same with here. I need that one. I need this one. And I need this one. I don't need that. I don't need that. And I don't need that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and cut it out. And hopefully it'll all make a bit of sense. Okay, so that's what you should end up with. So as you can see, hopefully you can see, that was our big sheet, like that. And we've cut that whole section off, these middle bits. And can you see how you're borrowing that middle half bit, you're borrowing the tab for box either side of it. Okay, so that's what you need to end up with, okay? Makes a bit more sense than that, but anyway. So there you are, hopefully you can see it. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to fold them all up. So you need to decide what pattern you want on the inside of your box, your basket, and what pattern you want on the outside of your basket. So I would advise, generally I usually go for the pattern on the inside, which sounds weird, but the reason being, you have the plainer side on the outside because these strips are going to then make up your pattern on the outside, okay? So these are going to be the pattern bit that you've got on the inside. So it kind of ties together. So on this box, I'm going to make this green teal colour on the outside and the tiles will be on the inside because when I come to do the strips, I will have the tile side of the strips showing, okay? And then they will contrast against the nice aqua. So that being so, I need to make sure that this stays on the outside. So I'm going to flip it over so I've got the inside showing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold along these lines as valley folds. Okay, and when you've done that, you're going to fold all of your tabs in as valley folds as well. And then the end half-inch sections need to go backwards to be mounting folds. Okay, so you should end up with 3 pieces that are all folded like that. So next what you want to do is take some red tape, turn all of your panels over, so you've got the side that is going to be on the outside. And you need to put tape along all of the tabs, so these tabs here, and also the flaps, and also directly under. So where that flap's going to close, you want tape there and there. That seems a bit excessive, but you'll see why when we start adding the strips. So you should end up with 3 pieces that look like that. They've got tape in those places. And what you're going to do is you're going to literally going to start on one side, okay? Don't do both sides, just one side. And I'm actually going to just turn this around because I've got a variation where it goes from dark to light. I'm just going to turn it around so I end up with dark, light, dark. The next one will end up being light. You don't have to worry about that if you've just got normal patterns. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick, take the tape backing off that tab, and I'm going to stick that onto there like that. I am not going to stick this end. I'm only going to concentrate on this side for now. Okay, you'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that onto there, and then I'm going to stick this one onto there, okay? Okay, so when you've stuck those three together, you will end up with this. Okay, so this side's all stuck together, and this end you've got three flappy bits. So what you want to do is you're going to cross this over, and then this part is going to stick to the inside of there, like that. Okay, so this one on the end here, this tab is going to stick here. Okay, so bring your side up, bring this across, and that is going to stick on there like that. So we're going to peel that tape off. And I'm going to go ahead and stick that down like that. Okay, so now what you want to do is, before you go any further, you're going to stick some glue on the bottom here, just so when the next piece goes on, it glues on. This sticks onto the bottom, because I didn't do that on my first one, and I've got a bit of a baggy bottom, and it kind of rocks when it stands up. So for this one I am going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this middle one. Okay, so you've got an end, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the third one, which is this one here, is going to go across here, and it's going to stick onto the end there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it over as if I'm going to stick it, flap that out of the way, and then I'm just on the bottom here, I'm just going to make a mark with a pencil so I know where that comes to. So now I've got a pencil mark there, so I can go ahead now and either tape or glue it. I'm going to wet glue it just because it's easier than having to pick backing off. So we're going to put a bit of glue on there like that. I'm also at the same time going to peel this backing off here, ready for it, like that. I'm going to put that across like that, and then we're going to stick those sides together like that. Now once that side is stuck, I'm now going to press down and just make sure that bottom is stuck like that. Okay, so that's what your bottom looks like, and that's what the inside looks like. So all you need to do now is take this last piece, and you're going to stick, obviously this flap here is going to stick inside there, and that one's going to stick there, and you also need to do the base. So let's just turn it over. So with it like that, we're going to draw a pencil line here, and then we know that's where how much the glue needs to be. Before I go and glue that, I'm actually going to take the backing off both of these, well definitely one of them. I'm going to take the backing off of this one. Okay, I'm going to take the backing off this one because I don't want my glue drying out while I'm fiddling with tape backing. So I've taken that off, so I need to be careful that's sticky. I'm now going to glue this base. Okay. So put some glue on that base. Then we're going to bring this flap over and stick this side down like that. Hopefully you can see like that. I'm going to press down on the base as well. It's not fully stuck because we need to stick this one in now. So I'm just going to take this backing off and stick that down. Now at this point, if you wanted to, you could make it into a box rather than a basket. Just bear with me if I'm off camera. I just need to be able to see where I'm sticking here, because I think I've stuck something a bit wrong somewhere. Just bear with me while I get it into place. There we go. Right. So there's that, like that. So if you can see, it makes quite a nice little hexagonal box. Okay, so if you wanted to do it and you didn't want to make a basket, you could stop at this point. Obviously do your strips, the next bit we're going to do. But when we get to the handle, just don't do the handle, make a little lid for it instead, or just leave it as an open box. But anyway, when you get to this point, what you're now going to do is you're going to put this to one side, and you need to bring back in, let me just clear the decks a little bit because it's getting a little busy around here. You need to bring back in the bigger strip, the one that you scored twice on. Okay, so this is the, oh, let me check my notes. This is the 4.5 by 11 3/4. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut this into 1/2-inch strips. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Right, so you should end up with 9 strips that are 1/2 inch wide and 11 3/4 long. Okay, so what you want to do is start with one strip. Now, where you've scored it, that's your registration lines. If you want to, you can actually just give them a quick crease. Don't do a proper burnish fold, but just crease them a little bit. Take your pot, turn it upside down, and what you want to do is you're going to put tape, and you can use normal double-sided for this, or you can use red tape or glue, whatever you want really. You're going to tape along the bottom, and then just stick it to the base like that. Okay, now I normally do the two outsides and then the middle. You can weave it if you want to. I haven't. I've literally done, as you can see, like a side at a time, because it can get a bit complicated if you do that. But it's up to you. And also because no one sees the base, it's going to be at the bottom, so it's not really that important. So I'm going to go ahead now and start sticking these down. Okay, so further to what I said I wasn't going to weave them, but I have ended up weaving them. Okay, and I just want to show you the difference. Okay, so these, I've actually just kind of, as you probably saw, I took that top edge, so imagine that like that. I took that top edge and put it on, turned it, put it on, turned it, put it on, and I kept doing that all the way around. And then when I'd done all the top ones, I then started on the bottom ones. And then when I've done the bottom ones, I then did the middle ones, because then you can kind of get them central, because you want them to be, I mean, these are a little bit wonky, but you want them to be pretty much central. I've used double-sided, not red tape, because, say for example here, I'm not happy with that, because that's wonky. I can at least sort of peel this off. I've got an attempt at peeling it off and straighten it out if I want to. Okay, so that's just something to bear in mind. The other thing as well is that's how it looks if you weave it, and if you don't, obviously that's how it looks. Okay, so it's really up to you, and as I said, this is the base, no one's going to see it, so it doesn't really matter that much, but it's, you know, if you like it to be all nice and fancy like I sort of did, then go ahead. Right, this one here is also a little bit wonky. I don't know if I can do much about that though. No, I think it'll do. I think we'll do. Right, so now what you want to do is turn it back over the right way up, so you've got all these bits and bobs hanging out, and pick a side, doesn't matter which side you are. Take off the tape, not the one underneath the flap, the one that's actually on the side of the box, and then take, you're best to work at the side, do the two sides first and then the middle. So you're going to take the side, you're going to make sure it doesn't go above that crease, and you're going to stick it down like that, okay? And then once you've done that, you're going to do the same with the end piece, like that. And then once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and stick the middle one in nice and centrally. And when you've done that, you can then go ahead and take the backing off the flap and stick it over the top. And that's one side done, okay? And then you just carry on doing the exact same thing on all of the sides. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to speed it up so you don't have to sit and watch me do it in real time. Okay, so you should end up with that. Okay, so that's the bottom of it, and there's the top. And as I said, if you wanted to not do a basket and you wanted to make it into a box, then this would be the time where you would stop, and then instead of putting the handle on, you'd make a little lid for it, okay? Or leave it open. You could leave it open like that. What would be quite nice would be if you could somehow make the inside like waterproof or water resistant in some way. You could almost use it as somewhere you could put a plant pot inside and have it as like a little plant pot holder, which I think would be quite cute as well. So anyway, we're going to carry on. We're going to make it into a basket, because that's what we're doing, an Easter basket. I just think it's so cute. Sorry, whoever made this was a genius. Okay, it sparked me off with this one. It's almost like a little lantern as well. You know the little lanterns you get where they're like that at the top and the bottom. It's a bit like that as well. Anyway, I digress. You could put a candle in it as well. Anyway, sorry. Get back to the plot. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the last strip that we had, which was our 11 3/4 by 2, and you're going to fold it along the lines that you have scored. So at 1/2 inch and at 1.5 inches. And this is going to be your handle. Now, if you wanted to, you could just use a 1 inch piece, 1 by 11 3/4, and not strengthen it. But I've just folded it over because in the past I haven't done this extra strengthening method, and I found that it can be quite weak. The hand, especially if you've got an Easter egg in there or something of weight, it can be quite floppy and horrible. So I just found when you strengthen it, if I put something heavy in there now, that's not really going to bend very much because it's nice and strong. So what we're going to do is just going to open that up, and then you can either glue or tape. I'm going to use red tape because I've got some that's just the right width. And so I'm just going to put a line of tape. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to put the tape down the sides here. Because on one of them, I think it was this one, I ended up with a gap here. And so that gap is now, as you can probably hear, a bit sticky. Okay, so we're not going to do that. I'm going to do it on the sides, and then if any of that shows, it's not the end of the world. So we're just going to go ahead and stick those down. Okay, so once you've stuck it down, this is the inside bit where the raw edges are, and this is the side that will be on the outside. What you need to do is just gently, with your fingers, just gently coax it and start to curl it. And if you do that, you should avoid any kind of cracking on the inside, because obviously you've got that folded edge and then you've got those, you've got quite a thickness of card there, because this card is about a 200 GSM. And so when you obviously layer it up, it can get quite thick. So just give it a little bit of a curve, and then that way you get a nice curve on your handle. Right, so I'm going to go ahead now and apply the ribbon. I say apply, stick it down onto the outside. I'm going to use red tape, and it's just going to go all the way around. All the way around like that, okay? So it's all around the base. So I'm just going to use a thin red tape. So I'm going to use quite a thin one. And I'm just going to put a layer of very thin red tape all the way around the outside. So I think I'm going to make this side the front. So this is going to be the back. So I'm just going to turn it round. And I'm going to apply the red tape just to the very bottom edge. Oh, it's not going to want, come on, behave yourself. The very bottom edge of that rim. And you want to literally apply it all the way around like this, so that it kind of holds those flaps together. Okay, so because you might find that just where those two join, it might just start lifting off the box. So this tape just kind of holds it all together and stops it from lifting off. So we're going to go all the way around till we get back to where we started, which is here. Just cut that excess off there, like that. Okay, so now I'm going to put the ribbon on. Okay, so there's my trim all the way around. So now we're going to add the handle. So I'm going to decide that that's going to be the front of my, yeah, that's the front of my basket. So these are going to be the sides. So if I take one side, turn it on its side and take a pencil, and where the central line is, the central strip here, I just want to make sure that I'm going to make a little hole kind of in the centre of that section just there. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same again on the other side, again central with that central section. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a hole punch and punch through there and there. Right, so I'm just going to take my box, and the reason I've made the pencil mark is it's easier then to see where you're punching. So you're just going to put that onto the hole, give it a good old punch, and there's my little hole there. Okay, do the same on this side. Like that. Give it a bit of a wiggle. If your strips start coming unstuck like mine are here, you can just add a little bit of extra glue underneath them if you want, or just use red glue when you stick them down. My other one didn't have this problem, but for some reason this one is being problematic, and I'm not quite sure why. But anyway, I digress. So once you've done that, you then want to take your handle and do the same again. So just, I mean, if you want to measure it, you can. But send about half an inch up, I would say. And then centrally, so about there. And same on this one, but half an inch up and central, left to right. And then you're going to punch a hole in that too. There we go. And then what I do, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but just because I quite like it to be a handle that's solid, it's not going to move anywhere. I also then put a little bit of tape just below the hole, just to hold it in place when it's been, you know, when you've got the brad through it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of red tape on the bottom. What we're going to do is going to peel that tape off. And then I'm going to line up the two holes. Now if you want to, you can bring your brad in at this point and stick it through and then line it up that way. That might be a good idea. So I'm going to put that through like that, put that through, make sure that is straight, like that. So I've now stuck that into position, and then I'm going to spread the wings of the brad back on itself like that. Okay, we'll turn it round and we'll do the same on the other side. So I'm going to take the backing off the tape. I'm going to get my brad, stick it through the hole, get the other one, stick the hole through, because that way you can make sure it's lined up, stick it down and spread the wings back. Now, obviously you can see the wings inside, so if you want to, you can just cover those over. That's what I did on this original one, so I just put a flower inside and stuck it with silicone glue. So that's something you can do. I haven't got around to doing it on this one yet, but I will do. I will put something over the top. And also the other thing as well that I forgot to mention earlier was on the inside, obviously you can see all the tabs on the inside, but if your pattern is so busy like mine is, you actually don't really notice it. And once you've got, like, you know, that paper, what's it called, like shredded paper, once you've got shredded paper inside and an egg, you're really not going to notice. So it's up to you. If you want to, you can go ahead and put, you know, cut little panels to put inside. And if you did that, you would also then cover up that strap that you can see. But I personally, because it is so busy, it doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, so that's basically your basket done. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you have a go. Perfect for Easter baskets, especially now we can get outside in groups of 6. Rule of 6 outside applies, so that's good. So, you know, if you want to go and do an Easter egg hunt with 5 other people, you could. But yeah, it's a cute little basket. I've got a rattly bit. There we go. I've got a sequin running around. But yeah, so hopefully you'll have a go. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.